¿Qué tranza, homito? It's your vato Jaime G. Want to come out here and sum up my city for you. I'm from the hometown Laredo, Texas, homes. Down south. We them South Texas cats, homie. You know what I'm saying? I was out there in San Antonio, so you hear me a lot of times, shout out the town. That was the last city I was living in. So today I want to touch down on the hometown and sum it up in a nutshell for you. Alright, so the city of Laredo, Texas, homie, you got about 250,000 people right now, and it's still growing. The whole city is like a giant neighborhood, homie. You got chingos de barrios all over Laredo, homes. Anywhere you go in the hometown, you're gonna feel like you're in the same place. Like, toda la gente ahí is all raza, homie. So the city of Laredo, Texas, it's about 95% raza, you know what I'm saying? Hispanics, bro, Mexicanos, Texans. And, you know what I'm saying? Growing up, I grew up in the 90s. That was the era that I stomped around in on the east side. I'm from Nixon. La Colonia ahí right around the Nixon area. Also around Siete Nuevo, Ghost Town, Candle Factory, 3 Point. Those are the areas I stomped around in. But for a while I was fucking with Chacon, Santo Niño, on the south side. Had some homies out there in LA too, and they got a barrio out there called Los Angeles. And man, shout out to Larete, man, todos los homeboys, todos los hometowns allá, man. You got some of the most firme gente you ever run across in Laredo, homes. Pura raza firme, you know what I'm saying? Puro carnalismo. Especially in my day when I was growing up. When I was growing up as a chavalón in the 90s, early 2000s, man, it was all firme. And there was chingos de gangas, homie. Like, there was a lot of gangs, all over the city. A lot of youngsters, ven recio, homie. Like, the youngsters out there in Laredo, you're not going to find youngsters as cold as the youngsters that I knew growing up. You know what I'm saying? You got 13, 14, 15-year-old youngsters, homie, checking grown men. Squabbing it out with grown men. Getting shootout smoking grown men. Youngsters, homie. I in my era, in my days, I knew plenty of homitos that went to war with grown men, with mafia, homie. Con la letra, con el cuerno, con el cohete. You know what I'm saying? On some youngster shit. And even the people I used to beef with, you know what I'm saying? Movida, CPV. Estás hablando de chavalones ben recio, homie. Los PGRs, la VGR, us, los Land Kings, Chacon Kings, like la raza loca. You got a chingos de homitos, man. When I was growing up, you couldn't walk down, to other neighborhoods or down the street without getting in a squabble with somebody. Like, in hometown when I was growing up back in the 90s, early 2000s, homie, ben pico deals, you know what I'm saying? Everybody want to mean mug you, stare you down, and throw down with you, bro. Like, motherfuckers just ready to go at it. In any hood, whatever neighborhood we talking about, you can throw all the names of all the neighborhoods in the hometown, and I'll vouch for every last one of them, homie. I don't disrespect any of my hoods in Laredo. It's nothing but quota for all of my hoods, bro. Laredo, you talking about the realest city in Texas, homie. Yeah, shout out to the Vayuco, you know what I'm saying? Vayuco out there be doing their thing too, but what sets Laredo apart from all the others in Texas, homie, is that carnalismo, that hometown pride. Because I've seen it in the system where people go into the system and Laredo sticks together, bro. We all mob together, and somebody might say something different out of your experience. It might have been different, but from my experience, the hometown's always going to look out for the hometown, bro. Regardless of you all from the same gang or not. It's nothing but quota for the hometown, homie. And the swag down in Laredo is like straight raza, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be that swag from like a Mexicano style, you know what I'm saying? On that cholo shit, you know what I'm saying? But not too Cali style, not too West Coast, So before I was a Latin King, I used to be banging the neighborhood, I used to ride around like in the city selling my dope, hitting licks, doing my moves. You know, and I'd just be representing the hood, the east side, you know. El Siete Nuevo, La Nixon, Las Lomas. You know, I'd just be representing whatever area I was at, homie, and rocking with the neighborhood cats that was out there, you know. Todos los homitos, man. And I met so many homeboys in my era, in my area, homie. Because I was always breaking the law, going in and out of juvenile. I stayed living like that, homie. Active. You know, I didn't have no pops, my mom, you know what I'm saying, nowhere to be found. So I roamed around the city and did whatever the fuck I wanted, homie. That's how I rocked, that's how I rolled. So I was always in and out of juvenile, bro. That was my life. And going in and out of juvenile and spending months, weeks, you know, and spending time in there, coming out and going back in, I got to meet all the chronic offenders of Laredo, all the serious offenders. You know what I'm saying? So from the year of 99 to 2005, out of those years, if you was going in and out of the juvenile system, more than likely we ran into each other. You know what I'm saying? I could throw names out there all motherfucking day long, homie. When it comes to the young rascals, los chavalones recios, homie. I know them all, and in the juvenile system, I was out there, los juras right there, the COs in the juvenile system, you start calling them by their first name, or their, you know what I mean, you get real tight with them, bro. Because they basically raised us. We're always in and out of juvenile, we're spending weeks, months in there. You know, they're always seeing us. And in the juvenile, I used to tell them, man, hold my bunk down, I'll be right back. You know what I'm saying? I get out of juvenile, go start hitting licks, doing my moves. In no time, I'm back in juvenile. You know what I'm saying? I'll land in there and I'll be like, man, where the fuck my bed at? Coming back, you know what I'm saying? And in the juvenile system, you know what I'm saying, I've seen young homies run up on COs and straight smash COs, break their ribs and all kinds of shit, homie. So, los chavalones in my day, homie, estás hablando de chavalones con huevos, carnal. You know, recio, man. And I chingo de famas that can vouch for this. Because they was probably one of those young recio chavalones too. And down in Larete, you got the famas, homie, that was running it back in my day. Now there's some kind of tango shit going on. You know, so a lot of people going down with the tango. You know what I'm saying? Which started like the Four Horsemen up there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, and Houston, you know what I mean? They started just rocking their city and banding together against like the Texas prison gangs, which is Texas Syndicate, Mexican Mafia, Los Pistoleros, Los Aztecas. You know what I mean? You got about 5 major prison gangs that was running the penitentiary for years. You know what I mean? They was the law. They was the kings. They was the ones running everything. They're the ones everyone was aspiring to become a member of their affiliation. So in Laredo, you know, you had these major famas that were controlling the whole city, homie. You know, and you were right by the border, homie. So está entrando toda la merca from Mexico, you know what I'm saying? La frontera. So you got all kinds of dope coming in by the tons, homie. This ain't your average normal city, you know, in some other fucking place in the northern states or East Coast, you know what I'm saying? We're getting all the work coming in. And so Laredo, if you ever want to leave outside of Laredo, if you want to go South Laredo, East, North, you're gonna have, or even West, anywhere you want to go outside of my city, homie, you're gonna have to go through a fucking checkpoint. You know what I mean? That's how much fucking dope there's coming through my city. In Larete, homie. That the whole fucking city's basically in a prison, homie. Surrounded by nothing but checkpoints. You want to leave, you're gonna have to cross through there and talk to immigration. You might have to show your ID. You might have to step out your vehicle and let them search you. You know what I mean? If you're smuggling any kind of shit or got warrants, you're going in. You know? So the city's like in a fucking prison. And there's so much law enforcement these days, because when I go out there, there be cops everywhere, man. I chingo de juras, I chingo de migra. There's a lot of FBI, DEA, a lot of rats nowadays, which they didn't have that growing up. You see, when I was growing up, it was a lot different. It's like there wasn't as much law enforcement. There wasn't as much anything, bro. Like the streets was straight, you know. Everybody was out, you know what I'm saying, making feria, homie. You'd be able to go to Nuevo Laredo like nothing, bro. Go party at Senor Frogs. in el, what was that other fucking spot? El 50, algo el 50, some shit like that. Uh, but yeah, you can go to Boys Town, you know, go chill. Like I used to go occasionally and do my thing. You know, I used to go over there and buy rochas too. You know, I'll go kick it over there with some cats. And it was crazy, homie, because there was a different era, you know. La onda estaba bien diferente, homie. Like, I just remember, you know, being able to walk over there like nothing, homie, and do my thing. And nowadays, you know, you might get kidnapped, you might get fucking killed, you know what I'm saying? So, my experience with Laredo was I was involved in all the crime elements, you know what I mean? So I knew a lot of mob bosses, I knew a lot of gang members, drug dealers, you know what I'm saying, jack boys, all that shit. Because I was always in that street life, you know what I'm saying? And con los homitos that I knew, like all the chavalones from Nixon, United South, like the high schools for the chavalones in my era, for the youngsters, the high schools is king, bro. Like depending what high school you go to, that's gonna depend what gangs rocking, you know what I mean, and running shit around that area. Because all the neighborhoods attached to that high school, they all go there. And that's where the gangs, you know, thrive off of that high school. You know, so you got high schools like the original one, which is La Martin. Then you got Nixon, that's where I'm from. You got United South, you got Cigarroa, you got United North. You know, you got different high schools out there, man. I think now there's about like maybe 12 or something like that. But for the youngsters, that's how it rolls back in those days, homie. Like, chingo de gangas, homie. So like people getting arrested, going to juvenile. You know what I'm saying? There'd be riots in the juvenile, you know, gang wars. You know, you'll have fucking los ceteros against la movida. You'll have CPV, movida, gang up against ceteros, you know what I'm saying, 3-point. And then Latin King started popping. We'd be beefing with LVGs, you know, PGRs. You know, I start beefing with everybody. Like the wars just keep going in circle, you know. CVLs, like different people be going at it. And the reason I mention these youngster gangs, bro, is because that was a major part of the 90s and early 2000s. These gangs actually were deep and they had juice, homie. And a lot of these gangs, they'd grow up to join like the mob, the names that y'all would know. Texas Syndicate, Mexican Mafia, Pistolero, you know what I'm saying? They grow up and they join these gangs. Nowadays, they're all turning tango. Majority, like a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So, but it just all goes in circles, you know. Later, the mobs will start coming back up. Now, there's a lot of different people con cartel, you know, trying to claim cartel from Nuevo Laredo or from other places, you know. But in my days, it was all about Las Famas, homie. The Famas were king. 90s, 2000s. Las Famas, they were the king, homie. These prison gangs were, you know what I mean, ran the city, homie. They had the keys to the city, and you know what I'm saying, they basically would rotate the power depending who had the juice right now before they get knocked off, killed, or sent to prison, and somebody else comes up. You know, but all these gangs, these youngster gangs that are always going in and out of juvenile, shooting each other, killing each other, fighting each other everywhere. You know, these youngster gangs, they all end up joining the mobs, you know what I'm saying, the famas. And chingo de homitos out there in Laredo, they're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're running with one of the youngster gangs and you get picked up by one of the famas, you know what I'm saying? You end up going to TDCJ or the feds or something, and you end up joining one of the prison gangs from Texas, you know? And that's how it rolls. So when I joined the Latin Kings were blowing up in the Texas Youth Commission. The Texas Youth Commission is the youth prison for juveniles through the whole state of Texas. So in the 90s and early 2000s, the Latin Kings were blowing up in the Texas Youth Commission. Mainly because of El Valle, down there by Westlaco, McAllen, Harlingen, Edinburgh, you know what I'm saying, Alice. Like South Texas was blowing up. You know, TYC especially, they had a state school called Edinburgh. And you know what I'm saying, that's where the Latin Kings were thriving. So a chingo de gente from Laredo were joining the Kings, you know what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of hometown, if you run across this video, leave me a comment, homie. Let me know who you was riding with. You know what I'm saying? And there ain't no disrespect to none of the gangs, homie, that I used to fight with or get into shit with. Because at the end of the day, we all hometown, homie. We all from the same city. You know, and we all in this shit together in the end, bro. Just people claiming a different gang, that's all, bro. But, you know, I know all the gangs back in my day, you know what I'm saying, that was riding. You got some good, solid people that, you know, they work and take care of their familia. You know, they stay out of the way from that crime shit. But that wasn't the society, the community that I was involved with. You know, those are not the people that I knew. I didn't fuck with people like that. The only people I know, they're all criminals, homie. They're all gang members, drug dealers, hustlers, jack boys. Those are the only people I ever knew. Because those are the ones that I ran with. You know what I'm saying? And so to sum up Laredo in a nutshell, homie, it's a frontera, it's a border town. You know, that's inside of a prison surrounded by nothing but checkpoints. And in this city, you got a majority, 95% raza, homie. It's all Mexicanos, Hispanics. The dominant language out there is Spanish, you know. If you don't know how to speak Spanish thoroughly, you know, you can still survive and get down out there, but you're not really going to be able to thrive and get on, like on that full culture, if you would. Because, like I said, that's the dominant language is Spanish. And right now, they got a lot of people from Mexico moving to Laredo. So you got a lot of paisanos, you know what I'm saying, taking over Laredo. You know, a lot of people that are there illegal or they're legally with their green card, you know, but they're from Mexico. So they're all flocking over here. And they're, you know what I'm saying, they're bringing their culture with them. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been like that, but it's happening in a bigger scale now. You know what I'm saying? So right now, you got a lot of that corrido shit going on. Like they're bringing that cartel mentality from Mexico, you know what I'm saying, to the hometown. You know what I'm saying? But when in my area growing up, we wasn't rocking that cartel shit, homie. We wasn't rocking that corrido shit. There's some people were, don't get me wrong, but the majority of the homitos, you know what I'm saying, that was really out there, you know what I'm saying, they was banging that gangster lifestyle, you know. That's the era where Tupac was really blowing up, Eazy-E, Snoop Dogg, you know what I'm saying. It was that gangster lifestyle, SPM. You know what I'm saying? And chingo de gangas, we always going at it, homie, like on some warrior shit, you know, throwing down. Vergazos was a mandatory, homie, anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had a shitload of fights out there in the high schools, in the neighborhoods, rumbles, and all that shit. Like, that's how we got down, bro. So, like, comparing us to other places, like in Texas, like H-Town and Dallas, and, you know what I mean, San Antonio, Austin. You know, those are very diverse cities that have different cultures. They have like black people, white people, Chinese. You know, they have different kind of ethnic groups. In Laredo, it's all dominated by the raza, homie. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? So our culture is gonna be king. You know, versus in other cities, you know, they'll start having like that that different kind of swag. You know what I'm saying? Because of the culture. And that's pretty much how it rolls, man. Larete, there's always gonna be a shitload of drugs in Laredo. You know, I don't think that shit'll ever change, homie. Growing up, I remember seeing in the news every single day, 100 pounds of this got popped, or 2 tons of this, 10 tons of that, every single motherfucking day, homie. There'd be so many busts of fucking bangloads of quantity of dope, you know, every fucking day. Whether it be a raid somewhere in some house somewhere or through the checkpoint. The checkpoint is notorious. People are gonna get popped at the checkpoint every motherfucking day, bro. That's just how it is, man. That's how much dope running through the city, bro. And I think, you know, you get a lot of that shit in Cali that be popping like that too, down there in Florida, because they got the boats, you know what I'm saying, coming in. But I'm speaking on Larete because that's my hometown, that's where I'm from, bro. And I just wanted to sum up, you know what I mean, my city in a nutshell. Don't go down to Laredo and thinking you're going to go over there and, you know what I'm saying, change shit up, bro. Go out there, stick your chest out, and you know what I'm saying, try to bring your culture and you know, step on toes down there, because it ain't happening, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like, just picture some out of towners trying to come to your city and change shit up, bro. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna go down. Same thing in Laredo, homie. You go down there, you know what I'm saying? You better get in line like everybody else, homie. Shout out to the hometown. Pura gente firme, pura gente recia, homie. Yes, I moved from the hometown. I'm out here in Missouri now. And I'm placing the chess pieces on the board, you know what I'm saying, to open up the doors out here in Springfield where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Start linking up with Kansas City, St. Louis. You know what I mean? But I'm doing it out here on that righteous tip. There ain't no more criminal shit going on around me. Like, you know what I'm saying? The last thing that I ever want to go back to the joint. You know what I'm saying? I'm on that fuck prison mentality out here, bro. So I'm trying to get it successfully out here, making this money, being a boss, bro, being my own boss. You know, working for myself, homie. That's what I'm on out here. And this YouTube shit, you know what I'm saying, I wanted to pick up. I want my subscriptions to get up, my views to get up. But I want to stay relevant on that positivity, you know what I mean? But somehow, some way, I always come back to these topics, you know what I mean? To prison, to the streets, you know, to this lifestyle. Prison, to the streets, you know, to this lifestyle. Shout out to the Tone, to Sanato, you know what I'm saying? Got a lot of good firme gente out there. And I'll get into another story about what I know about Sanato. But Sananto's a way bigger city, man, and it's way more diverse, you know. So it's really hard to sum it up in a nutshell, because you got a lot of people doing different various things, you know. But the reason that I'm not in Laredo no more is because twice, by the powers that be, by the faith and the hand of God, I was removed from the city on several occasions, man. I took so many losses running the streets out there, man. It's like that's all that I ever experienced out there, was just going to juvenile, going to county jail, going to prison. You know, all the cases I ever caught was in Laredo and San Antonio. You know what I mean? And South Texas. I was always catching cases. That's all I ever did. But out here in Springfield, man, in Missouri, you know, I'm going on 9 years being out of the joint. So it's like I've been able to thrive and prosper better out here than I ever did back home. Because it's nothing like back home out here. You know what I mean? The culture out here is very different. The community's very different. You know, that gang, that crazy, you know what I'm saying? It's just nothing like Laredo. Nothing. It's like night and day, bro. So I've been able to, you know, play it cool and stay out the way and stay out of trouble out here, even though I've done a lot of shit out here too. You know what I'm saying? There was many years out here when I first moved out here that, you know what I'm saying, I was trying to turn this into Little Laredo, you know? Like just bringing all kinds of jale and moving work through here. But me tumbé ese rollo, homie. Me tumbé ese rollo, chafo, and I'm doing something positive out here now, bro. And there's like a lot of different raza that they coming around now. I'm running into a lot more different raza out here. You know, so I'm, you know, a lot of them some youngsters, so I'm giving them some game. They look to me, you know what I'm saying, around my neighborhood. I be running into them a lot. You know, and I just be shooting, you know what I'm saying, that wisdom and knowledge to them, bro. Just showing them that carnalismo, you know. And encouraging them to do better, man, to do something positive with their life, man. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, what it's all about out here is that success, homie. Even drug dealers and jack boys and, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's after that money, after that success, man. Everybody just wants to have that, you know what I mean? That better life. For themselves, for their families. There's nothing wrong with that, homie. There's nothing wrong with it at all. We all chasing and searching for the same things. The only difference is how you go about it. You know what I mean? And I've taken so many losses. I've done so much time behind the walls inside of the system. And I refuse to do any more, homie. I ain't going backwards, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I avoid prison a full throttle, like all the way we avoid it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here pushing no work. I'm not out here, you know what I'm saying, doing nothing but staying free, homie. Staying on that legitimate, righteous path. And unfortunately, I had to cut a lot of ties from my past, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that I had to put on hold and just put to the side, you know, because their lifestyle's still the way my old life was, and I'm not trying to have that around me no more, man. And unfortunately, the new life that I'm headed down, like, I just don't click and connect too well with these individuals. For whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, I just really don't connect and vibe and bond with, you know, just anybody. Ain't nothing but love for my raza, for all the homitos out there, man. Todos los chavalones, all the youngsters, all the OGs. You know what I'm saying, you run across this video, homie, saludos. Y puro pinche respeto, homie. I got nothing but respect and love for my famas, for all the gangs, for all the sets out there, and for all the regular civilians, homie. You know what I'm saying? If you just out there on some legitimate shit and staying out of the way of the criminal underworld, then shout out to you too, homie. But you already know what time it is coming from Laredo, homie. Everybody got a little bit of thug in them. I go watch what's in 956 Laredo, we out, homie.
Gangsta, gangsta, keepin' shit so real. Gangsta, gangsta, rollin' up that key. Gangsta, gangsta, keepin' they chips real. Gangsta, gangsta, gangsta,
you know, blue kids, I got a strap and we're down to get it on. Keeping in mind that we always down the bone. Keep myself on the toes, no key, was a lot on the phone. Slick top, big tops when they get to work on the block. Picking up a penny from the hot spot with a 7088 drop top. Scoop so straight from the watch, man, I can't set the law, so you best just walk on a real G clan they spot. So stop, look out, look here, come watch. Drunk at the scotch, already been hot since 4 o'clock. Just smoke crowds, we kicking it. We loving it, but we living it. That's the way it is, and we scribbling it. Distribute this and fuck the trend. This is gangsta, gangsta. Doing it again, get the bank and break 'em. Holding it down like an anchor. Compared to the rest, we out rank 'em. Fine asshole, we just spank it. When I get